We're testing. We're testing. We're testing.
Do we have to do that in this one? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
You know what? To the window, to the wall, Chaos Kids. I'm Amber.
Till the
Finish it.
sweat drips off my balls?
Yes. That's exactly right.
Those are lady balls. Inner lady balls to you, by the way. And I'm Naomi, and this is Crime, Wine, and All the Chaos.
Inner lady ball. Oh my God.
The OG. They're the original balls.
That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh, sister.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I had to close my window, so I'm a little warm already.
Oh, there's noises happening out there.
Well, I just try to keep it close. Well, I live near a freeway. There's road noise, and there's other people around sometimes, and it's just to be sure. Just to be sure. But yes, I am stressed. You were going to say you're stressed. Yes, I am stressed out. Company's coming.
I know.
Which I'm actually really excited about it because some of you haven't been here at all. Some of you have been here since. Well,
yeah.
It was a whole different vibe the last time you were here, Amber. So
yeah. What's your guest count?
I don't really know. You know how people are. Some people are like, oh yeah, but then do they show up? I don't know.
Right.
So it's not a huge guest count. It's not going to be a big mamma jamma. Next year maybe bigger because we'll be more established. We'll have a better,
Right.
And there were some people that wanted to come for the whole weekend. They were going to camp out, but like plans fell through. So, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But anyway, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be chill. It's going to be super chill. The weather's supposed to be really nice. So, we'll just be hanging.
I love all that.
Out. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Hey, I have a brand new toilet.
Stop it. Look at you. When did that happen?
Yesterday.
What?
Oh, you have no idea how hard we're working over here right now, sister.
That's amazing.
It's white and clean and fresh and new, and the floor is new, and some of the walls are new. It's happening.
Good.
It's happening.
I love all that.
Still don't have a kitchen, but
okay.
It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine.
You're getting there.
What's going on with you?
My gosh, not a whole lot, just wrapping up the work week. Tomorrow is Juneteenth. So
that's right.
It's a day off for me. Gonna go to band practice tomorrow and,
take it easy.
Take it easy. Yeah.
Nice. I love that for you.
Thank you. And then
Sister,
I'll be out at your place on Saturday.
Yes, you will. We're going to party like it's solstice. Hey, do we have a new Chaos Kids Club member?
We do. Someone joined the club.
That's amazing.
This is Mary G.
Mary G.
Mary G.
Welcome to the club.
I love it. Welcome, Mary.
It's amazing. Blows me away every fucking time. You guys are awesome.
I know. Amazing.
What are you drinking, sis?
Thank you for asking. It's Maria's. It's a red blend from Spain.
Oh, okay.
Maria. It was tasty. I already finished it.
You already
Well, it was like a baby amount. But yeah, I finished it.
Okay.
And now I have water.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll allow it this time. Sister.
Yeah.
Can I tell you about a heinous crime?
It's heinous.
It's heinous.
Oh, fuck. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I did hear that. They coming for you?
No, not this time.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you about some murders.
Okay.
All right. So in February of 2023, Christine Banfield, 37, and her husband, Brendan, 38, had been married for nearly 11 years. Their daughter, Valerie, was 4. The couple had settled in a home in Herndon, Virginia, in Fairfax County. It's a really nice place to raise a family, great schools, and beautiful, quiet neighborhoods. They were still fairly new to the area, having moved in 2019 from their hometown of Long Island, New York. Brendan worked for the IRS as a criminal investigator, which is very much a cop. He is a sworn federal officer who carries a firearm.
Okay.
The move to Virginia was prompted by Brendan's promotion to special agent. Brendan spent some of his free time gaming online. Christine was an accomplished nurse who took on the tough jobs like caring for victims of sexual assault. Her specialty, though, was pediatric intensive care. She was really good at her job and a great teacher to new nurses. Christine's sister Danielle said it was not surprising at all that she was a pediatric ICU nurse. Quote, she had a way about her that made people feel comfortable and welcomed without effort. She provided comfort to frightened parents. She made those moments more bearable with her big smile and infectious laugh.
Mm.
Christine had also volunteered to work the adult ICU ward during the early days of COVID, a time when there was so little known about it, that it was a dangerous volunteer job she took.
Right.
One of her coworkers said it was the equivalent of running into a burning building to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing Christine prized more than her work was her family, especially her daughter, Valerie. All she did was talk about Valerie to her coworkers, constantly pulling out her phone to show them pictures.
Cute.
Brendan and Christine were described as a fun couple who loved to work out and compete in like Tough Mudder type races.
Mm-hmm.
And Brendan was pretty outdoorsy. He enjoyed hiking. Brendan was also interested in investing and playing with the stock market with the goal of creating like some generational wealth for Valerie. And by all appearances, Brendan and Christine were doing really well financially. Christine and Brendan had decided that their best option for childcare, especially with the kind of hours that Christine worked, was to hire an au pair through a program that matched families with young au pairs from abroad. Christine had found the perfect solution and also felt like she was doing something for these young women, giving them the ability to come to the U.S. to work and possibly give them an avenue for a new life.
Right.
The first au pair they hired, Christine got really close with her, and it was tough when she had to leave. So in October of 2021, the couple hired their second au pair, a young woman from Brazil named Juliana Perez Magalhães.
Okay.
From henceforth, they're just going to call her Juliana. I don't pronounce her last name well. On the morning of Friday, February 24th, 2023, just after 8 a.m., a call came into 911. Brendan is on the line. He tells the dispatcher he's a federal agent and there was somebody in his house and that he had shot an intruder in his home.
Mm.
He said he fired at the man because the man was stabbing his wife. She was still breathing. When police arrived, guns drawn, they meet Juliana in the driveway, who tells them to come upstairs to the primary bedroom. There they found Brendan kneeling over Christine, one of his hands on her neck. Christine is not moving. Brendan has blood all over his hands. Christine has been stabbed multiple times. Behind Brendan and Christine, deeper in the corner of the bedroom, was the body of a man laying on the dog bed, his face covered in blood. It was the man that Brendan shot. He was dead on the scene. Christine was still alive and rushed to the ER. Their daughter, Valerie, was found in the basement.
Wow. And is she unharmed?
She's unharmed.
Okay.
Juliana gave an informal statement to the police about what had happened that morning as they escorted her out of the house. She was breathless and asking for water. She had been preparing to go to the National Zoo with Valerie and other au pairs and the kids that they care for in the neighborhood. Super common. She'd packed up lunches and snacks for the day's adventure. She was with Valerie in the car across the street when she saw an unfamiliar SUV pull into the family's driveway. A man gets out of the car and goes directly in the front door. Juliana said she called Brendan, who was at a nearby McDonald's. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
What?
I just started scrolling.
Do
you do that thing where you accidentally click and it goes, okay.
Yeah.
She called Brendan, who was at a nearby McDonald's getting breakfast on his way to work. She told Brendan that she didn't know who it was that had come to the house and asked Brendan to come home, that she was scared.
Right.
Once Brendan arrived, she and Brendan put Valerie in the basement with a tablet to occupy her while they went upstairs to investigate. She said they heard what she described as spanking and sex sounds, When they entered the bedroom, Brendan and Juliana saw Christine on the floor and a man with a knife above her. Brendan identified himself as a police officer, and the man said, "I'm going to kill her." Brendan told the man to drop the knife, but the man refused and started stabbing Christine. Juliana said to the police, "I think Brendan shot him."
This is very strange.
It's very strange.
Okay.
While Juliana is being tended to, officers escorted Brendan out of the house and took him to the hospital. In the car, one of the cops asks Brendan about the 2 guns found in the bedroom, and Brendan confirms that both of them are his. One is his service weapon, one is his personal weapon. Brendan asked about Christine, telling officers he wants to be with her when they get there. He asked them about Valerie and what the officers would or would not tell her, saying, "She's only 4," before starting to cry. Within moments of arriving at the hospital, a doctor approaches Brendan to tell him that Christine has died.
Oh.
Hours later, at the police station, Juliana is still unsettled. She's pacing and restless. She continues to talk to the police. She tells them she had a good professional relationship with Christine and Brendan. She also gives a more detailed description of the confrontation between Brendan and the man in the bedroom. She said that Brendan told the man, "Drop the knife, please drop the knife." And then the man was saying, "Drop the gun, drop the gun." They were yelling at each other. Juliana said she covered her ears and closed her eyes. She didn't want to see or hear anything. And then Brendan shot the man. She said after Brendan shot the stranger, he went to help Christine, who was bleeding badly. And the other man was still moving. So then Juliana shot the man too.
Okay.
Juliana met with detectives for nearly 9 hours. Brendan declined to provide a statement to police. And from what was reported and what was found at the scene, the police classified it as a home invasion.
Okay.
But very early on, police weren't so sure about that. For one, it was a very odd time for a home invasion. Early on a Friday morning when the neighborhood was bustling with activity and potential witnesses.
Right.
And the man had a knife while Brendan had a gun, and he stabbed Christine anyway.
Right.
The man dead on the dog bed was identified as Joseph Ryan, Joe, to his friends and family, who was 39 years old and lived with his grandmother about 20 miles from the Banfields. The police dug into this guy to find out as much as they could. They learned that Joe was a LARPer. Okay.
Okay.
From the cell phones found in his car, they also learned that Joe had accounts on a website called FetLife. FetLife is a kink-focused social hub where people can virtually meet other people that are into kink.
Okay.
He had several encounters with people he met on that website. His most recent conversation on the site was with a user named Anastasia9. Their correspondence was very in-depth and described a violent sexual fantasy that Anastasia wished to explore.
Okay.
It was a home invasion rape fantasy.
Oh.
The plan was formed on a secure messaging app. Anastasia wrote, quote, "I'm looking for someone aggressive, dominant, and experienced." There were specific things about clothing being cut off, specific acts and positions. The whole thing was planned to a T. Anastasia would leave the front door unlocked and be asleep in bed. Joe would carry out the plan, even if she resisted.
Uh-oh.
Police went digging into Christine's electronic devices and found that they were connected to the Anastasia9 account. All of this information made one piece of evidence found in the bedroom make much more sense: a backpack filled with sex toys consistent with BDSM play.
Okay.
The very items Joe said he would bring to the house, and the same items in a picture Joe had sent to Anastasia9. This, of course, shifted the whole story. Now, this wasn't a random home invasion, but what appeared to be an elaborate BDSM scene gone horribly wrong.
Right.
Joe Ryan was invited, and Christine was living a secret life. Joe and Anastasia had exchanged texts, setting up the meetup in the days leading up to the day they were killed. Detectives searched deeper into Kristine's devices and found no history of her being engaged in these types of interactions before this FetLife profile. Nothing to indicate she had any extramarital affairs in the past or had any other accounts within the kink community. Joe Ryan did have a history of meeting women he'd found on FetLife. When detectives spoke with these women, they learned that consent is a huge part of these types of encounters, and great care is taken to ensure that consent is in place. Joe was described as an easygoing guy who respected people's boundaries and had never crossed lines or boundaries or gotten violent with any other play partners. Joe even texted Anastasia, quote, "We need to set boundaries and make sure we will do the right things."
Okay.
None of this information was adding up to what happened in the Banfield home on that Friday morning. They both ended up dead. Kristine was not interested in rape fantasies, and Joe was not a violent man who didn't respect boundaries. Some detectives determined it must have been a catfish situation.
Oh, that's what I'm afraid of.
Someone else was running the Anastasia account and posing as Kristine online in order to lure Joe to the house.
Oh my God.
But not all the investigators agreed. The digital forensic detectives concluded it was not a catfish. It seemed to be Kristine was the one using these devices. They spent months analyzing the evidence and couldn't find any to support the theory of a catfishing scheme.
Don't you think that if you were going to like explore that life, though, that you would sort of dip your toe into it a little bit? There would be some evidence of it. You wouldn't go straight to come to my house
to like home invasion rape fantasy.
Yes,
right. That's like that's literally like 0 to 100.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed. Other crime scene evidence warranted deeper analysis as well. Joe's arms were in what they called a funeral pose, like one hand over the other, Joe lying on his back. This didn't make sense based on what Juliana told them about what had happened. This suggested a manipulated crime scene.
Yeah.
They also didn't believe Juliana's account of the yelling exchange between Brendan and Joe. Brendan has a gun, but Joe tells him to drop the gun because he has a knife. In what world does that even make sense? I've got a gun. Yeah, well, I've got a knife. What?
Yeah.
They literally...
Yeah.
What's the saying? You literally, like, you brought a knife to a gunfight?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Come on. And then there were the 911 calls, plural. Juliana actually had called twice.
Oh.
In the first call, there is clearly a person, a man, moaning in the background. The call lasted mere seconds before the caller hung up. The second call comes 13 minutes later, and that's a long time between calls when there is someone clearly injured there.
Yes.
Juliana's explanation of events is clearly not true, except that she did tell them that Joe Ryan was on the ground, clearly injured and incapacitated, and Juliana confessed to shooting him.
Okay.
In the months after the killings, Brendan stayed in the house he had shared with Kristine, and he gutted the primary bedroom and redid the whole thing. Juliana was also still living in the home, and she was posting pictures on Instagram a lot. Pictures of herself with a man whose identity she concealed with emojis. She's posting pictures of them out drinking together, dancing together, going to dinner. And detectives are pretty sure the man in those photos was Brendan.
Of course.
Additionally, her visa was about to be expired, and Brazil was a non-extraditable country. Police were concerned she was going to head back to Brazil, and they were never going to get her and never find out what happened in that room. And they had her confessing to shooting Joe Ryan on tape. In October 2023, nearly 8 months after the killings, police swooped in on the now 23-year-old au pair and arrested her for Joe Ryan's murder. Second degree was the charge. They also executed a second search warrant on the Banfield house. One of the first things they noticed was there were no pictures of Kristine anywhere. And upstairs in the primary bedroom, on the nightstand and on another countertop, there were pictures of Brendan and Juliana together in a romantic embrace.
Shut up.
Juliana's clothing is in the shared walk-in closet. Her lingerie was in the bedroom. She had moved into Christine's old bedroom, and Christine was erased.
Oh my God.
The investigation has now taken a turn. It was obvious that Brendan and Juliana had been having an affair. And from the timestamps on Juliana's Instagram post, it was clear they began that affair months before the murders.
Mm-hmm.
Juliana pleaded not guilty and was denied bail. The prosecution was positive she would quickly turn state's evidence and tell them everything in exchange for a deal. But a year went by and she wasn't talking.
She's in custody this whole time?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Okay. They were certain that Brendan was the mastermind, and they were counting on Juliana to spill everything.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan, a law enforcement officer, knew enough to know how long an investigation takes and also how computer analysis works, which they know is why when the digital forensic team says they can't say Christine wasn't using her devices during these FetLife and secure messaging activities, is because all those interactions happened with her devices while she was in the home. And so were Brendan and Juliana.
Yeah.
There was never an interaction on her devices that happened when she wasn't there.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean that it was necessarily Christine that did it, but they also can't rule out that Christine did it, right?
Oh my God.
Like the digital
mess. Yeah.
The digital evidence isn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, police learned that Brendan wrote a 14-page letter to Juliana while she sat in jail.
Oh.
It was very much reassuring her that he was with her on her side, almost love bombing, like he was trying to hold on to her. He wrote, quote, "You are my family. You are my dream girl. You are everything. I don't think anyone will love each other like we do. You are unique, wonderful, beautiful, loving, and everything I need."
Okay.
And it seemed to be working. She wrote back, quote, "I can take the blame. I would never do anything to hurt you or against you."
Oh boy.
During this time, police discover that Brendan's mom is paying for everything for Juliana. She's putting money on her books for phone calls and commissary purchases and is also paying for Juliana's attorney. Finally, the blood splatter analysis from the crime scene comes in. Certain blood stains on Brendan clearly indicated that he had been the one to stab Christine.
Oh, shit.
And then they were able to arrest Brendan Banfield in September of 2024 on 4 charges of aggravated murder and 1 charge for the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony for the murders of Christine and Joe.
Shit. Okay.
Brendan pleaded not guilty and was also denied bail. He continued to not speak with police.
Mm-hmm.
But about a month after Brendan's arrest, someone else was talking. Juliana finally decides that she wants to have a conversation and cooperate with the investigation. She told the investigators that the seeds were planted when she and Brendan started their affair in August of 2022, about 6 months before the murders. It started out as just sex, but soon they were going out on dates and having a good time. But then Brendan started complaining that he was the one paying for all the dates and things. And she told him she doesn't get paid enough money each week to be the one paying for dates.
Also, he's her employer. What a weird thing to say.
Weird. This guy's a piece of shit.
She knows exactly how much money she doesn't have.
Right?
What the fuck? Okay.
Such a piece of shit.
Uh-huh. Weird.
Juliana said Christine was oblivious to the affair. She never asked Juliana any questions about anything. Juliana and Brendan even took a romantic getaway to New York. And that was when Brendan told Juliana that he didn't want Christine getting in their way anymore.
Oh.
He told Juliana that Christine wasn't a good mom or wife, that she was lazy. And he made it clear the solution was to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
He also made it clear that Juliana was going to help him. Near the end of 2022, he bought her a gun and took her to the shooting range.
Fuck.
A little over a month before the murders, he laid out his plan to Juliana. He told her about FetLife, and the two of them created the profile together for Christine in order to lure a man to the house for their plot. She said it was easy to get their hands on Christine's devices. They would take her laptop to the bedroom in the basement, log into the chat board, and start looking for their fall guy. Posing as Anastasia 9, they posted what they were looking for, a man that wanted to play with blood and knives and such, and it didn't take long for them to get a response from Joe Ryan.
Poor guy.
Joe was into it and agreed to bring restraints, rope, and a knife to act out the scene. Juliana still thought it was likely at this point that Brendan might back out and not go through with this plan.
Mm-hmm.
But Brendan picked the date, knowing Christine would have that day off and be home. Brendan would leave for work as usual. Before he left, he turned Christine's phone off and put it in a drawer so she wouldn't be able to call for help.
Oh my God.
Juliana was to leave the house soon after Brendan, leaving the front door unlocked for Joe. But instead of going to the zoo, they would stay in Juliana's car, parked on the street, waiting for Joe to arrive.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was to call Brendan, who would be waiting at a nearby McDonald's as soon as she saw Joe's car. Brendan had started going to McDonald's before work a few days before the murders to establish this normal for him.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Brendan drove to McDonald's, went through the drive-thru, then parked and went into the McDonald's bathroom to wait for Juliana's call. Then Brendan was to drive back to the house, arriving after Joe had made his way to the bedroom and started role-playing with who he thought was a willing Anastasia 9.
Right.
Christine was the only one out of the four of them that had no idea about any of it.
Oh, she must have been so terrified.
She woke up in our nightmare.
Yeah. Oh my God.
A man in her room wielding a knife.
Yes. Oh my God.
It was always the plan that Brendan would kill Joe, then use Joe's knife to stab Christine, and they would blame the murder on Joe.
Wow.
When she and Brendan got to the bedroom, Brendan yelled out that he was an officer and that he had a gun. Christine yelled that the man, Joe, had a knife. Brendan shot Joe. Then Christine yelled to Juliana to call 911, and that's when the first call came into 911. But that wasn't part of Brendan's plan, and he mentioned to Juliana, or motioned to Juliana, like, hang up.
Mm-hmm.
Then he asked her to grab a towel from the bathroom, and that's when Brendan got on top of Christine and started stabbing her in her neck.
This poor woman. So first she's asking her husband for help.
Yes. No, first she wakes up to a strange man looming over her with a knife.
Uh-huh. Her husband shows up. She's probably like, thank God. I'm saved.
Yes.
And then
he shoots the guy.
Uh-huh.
And then pounces on top of her and starts stabbing her.
Oh my God. This poor woman. Oh.
So this is when Juliana notices that Joe is moving behind Brendan, still alive. And so she shot him. Brendan kept stabbing Christine 7 times in total. Then Brendan staged the scene to try to make it look like Joe had done it, moving Joe's body into the strange funeral pose. And that's when he asked Juliana to call 911 a second time. Juliana agreed to plead guilty to manslaughter in exchange for testimony at Brendan's trial, with the prosecution requesting the judge sentence her to time served. A lot of people were like, but she's only been in jail for like a year. Like, what is that? It's not right. That's not justice. But whether she served a year or 10, once they release her, she'd be booted back to Brazil. Yeah. It would be January 2026, nearly 3 years after the murder, that Brendan Banfield would finally go to trial for murdering his wife and a random man. At trial, under cross-examination, the defense was effective at poking holes in Juliana's testimony, especially in light of her sweetheart deal that meant she might walk away without serving any more time. She supposedly didn't remember quite a bit, which was meant to discredit her testimony, obviously.
Right.
In my mind, it seems more likely that she knew she was just as culpable and she was trying really hard to distance herself from the murders that she was clearly an active participant in.
Mm-hmm.
But her guilt doesn't negate Brendan's.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
But then it comes out that she was offered money for a documentary about her story, and she definitely lost some credibility with the jurors.
Oh, yeah, it's not a good look.
She was seen as callous and cold, and she showed no signs of remorse. The defense also attacked the catfishing theory of the case. The defense asserted there was no way to conclusively prove that Christine wasn't the one who had been engaging in the activity on her laptop and phone, and the initial digital forensics agreed with that.
Sure, there's no way to know who's on the other side of that screen, typey. But like we said, there is no history of her being into anything like this. And did they find any evidence or what that the affair had been happening for quite some time? I'm sure they did, right?
What, Brendan and Juliana's affair?
Yeah.
They had some evidence of that.
I mean, I would call that circumstantial evidence that they were the ones.
Right.
But yeah, I hate this so much.
Well, and then, Brendan had to testify in his own defense.
Of, of course he did. Because he is an officer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
He testified how much he loved Christine, how they were inseparable, and how he wanted to continue his marriage with his wife.
Sure.
He admitted that he'd had other affairs during their marriage, but that Christine had also had affairs herself, which, again, no one found any evidence of.
Right.
He said his affair with Juliana started in August 2022 while Christine was out of town.
Uh-huh.
The two were in the kitchen when Juliana started telling him about her time on the dating apps. He said that she described the people she was interested in, taller, older, their facial features, and she was basically describing him.
So what's the guy supposed to do?
So they were sitting at the table or at the kitchen island, and Juliana just like scooted closer to Brendan, and so Brendan took her to bed.
I mean, that's obviously the next logical thing to do here. This is
with your 21-year-old fucking au pair from Brazil.
Can you get any more fucking cliche?
Seriously.
Also, why can't listen? You would look like a huge dickhead by telling your wife that you're leaving her for the nanny, and also super fucking cliche. But just do that. You've roped in a completely innocent guy too.
Yes.
Who is now also dead.
Yes.
Oh my God.
He painted Juliana as obsessed with him, and she was the aggressor/pursuer in the relationship. He said it was just a fling, nothing more. They made no plans of any kind, even though there were communications between him and Juliana where they talked about the names they would give their children.
Oh. Uh-huh.
He also said he knew nothing about Joe Ryan or FetLife, not until after the murders, and he was not into any kind of kinky sex. But Christine was. He said one of her affairs was a BDSM relationship.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
Brendan said that the morning of the murders, he had gone to McDonald's and had no plan to kill anyone that day. He was just trying to get to work in time for a mandatory 9:30 morning meeting.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Brendan claimed that when he walked into the bedroom that morning, he found Joe Ryan behind Christine, looking directly at him as he opened the door.
This guy sucks.
Brendan yelled, "Police!
IRS!" Nobody gives a shit, Brendan. Oh my God.
Christine. IRS cops, is that like bicycle cops?
I think so. Didn't we do an episode where there was like post office cops? Am I making that up?
No,
okay.
That was the coupon. That was the coupon scam.
Coupon cops. Yes. Yeah. Okay. There it is.
Christine yelled, "He has a knife." Brendan then told Joe to drop the knife, and Joel told Brendan to drop his gun. Brendan claimed he wanted to de-escalate the situation. He didn't want to shoot Joe.
No.
Then Christine began moaning, and he realized Joe had stabbed her twice. Christine kind of spun away from Joe, and he made another downward stabbing stroke, and Brendan shot him.
Yeah. Yep.
And that is when Brendan ran to Christine and placed his hands on her neck to try and stop the bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
She told him she was bleeding out and that she was sorry and that she loved him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's when he heard another shot, and he saw that Juliana had his other firearm, and he was stunned that she had shot Joe.
Yeah.
And that's when he told her to call 911.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That makes sense. This is all making sense. This guy fucking sucks. This IRS cop is a fucking idiot.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
His cross-examination by the prosecution was even more brutal than the defense's cross-examination of Juliana. He went on the stand to testify for himself at his own murder trial.
Sure. Mm-hmm. He's got something to say.
They turned the story back to his affairs. One of those was a woman he had found on a fetish site that connected sugar daddies and sugar babies.
Oh.
He took issue with calling that a fetish site.
I see. Okay.
Right. Sugar daddies and sugar babies are not a fetish, Amber.
Okay.
Okay. The prosecution also showed the jury all the love letters between him and Juliana after her arrest, including the one where they discussed baby names. She also pointed out a big problem with his account of the morning. The medical examiner found 7 stab wounds on Christine, but Brendan only described 2 in his story.
Right.
And then the next day at trial, the prosecution called an extra witness. Brendan's supervisor, who had not been subpoenaed, but had shown up at the prosecutor's office that morning to let them know that Brendan did not have a meeting at 9:30 the morning of the murders.
Oh. Okay.
Just for your FYI.
Just for your FYI. Exactly. Oh, wow.
The jury deliberated for 9 hours and came back with a guilty verdict on all counts. A few days after Brendan's conviction, Juliana, well, they were both sentenced. Juliana was sentenced to 10 years for the manslaughter of Joe Ryan. Brendan's conviction came with 2 consecutive mandatory life sentences.
Wow.
At the sentencing hearings, Joe's mom read her victim impact statement. In it, she spoke of her son's kindness, how he taught jujitsu to children with autism, and cared for 2 grandparents, and how he had a soft spot for the most neglected animals. Quote, he would walk into an animal shelter and ask for the oldest, ugliest dogs and bring them home and love them for years.
Oh.
She said she tries to live by the words Joe always told her. Be kind to yourself, Mom. Take care of yourself, Mom. Love you, Mom.
Oh.
Christine's sister said, quote, when I look into a mirror, sometimes I see her first, my face replaced by hers. And in a flash, she's gone and I'm left confused by my own reflection. When the judge handed down Juliana's sentence, she said, quote, you don't deserve anything other than incarceration and a life of reflection on what you have done. May it weigh heavily on your soul.
Yeah.
Christine's sister, speaking on Brendan, said, quote, his testimony was the most self-serving display of narcissism I have ever witnessed. He attempted to smear her through outright lies. Joe's mom said Joe was chosen because Brendan Banfield thought he would make a good dupe.
Oh.
Brendan addressed the court for 11 minutes.
No, Brendan. My God.
He said he was greatly disappointed in the legal system that he was found guilty of a crime he didn't commit. He started, it was impossible to have committed the crime as it was presented in court. He said Christine arranged that meeting with Joe and that only Christine could have planned that meeting. And he talked about how his earlier affairs shouldn't be confused for not caring for his wife.
Right.
Quote, I loved her very much. Despite what you may think of my affairs, our marriage worked for us. It wasn't something that I looked to end. It was told to other women that I was never going to leave Christine. That was always how it was said. When the judge gave him his sentence, she said, quote, in the vast majority of these cases, people made mistakes. They are not inherently bad people, but they made terrible decisions and suffered the consequences. Sentencing in those cases is difficult. It weighs on me often long after the hearing is over. But she made it clear that she held no such burdens in this case. Quote, the disregard of the life of your wife, someone you supposedly love, is almost unfathomable. Scheming for months a master plan involving so many moving parts, including deception and manipulation, luring a completely innocent man into your deadly trap, continuing on after the murders without a care, and not once thinking of the impact on Christine's daughter. You did not just take her mother from her. You placed her in the middle of the horror you created. She is young now, but one day she will understand your true self, and she will understand what you took from her, which is everything.
Oh.
The judge also added 8 years for 2 of Brendan's other convictions, use of a firearm in commission of a felony and child endangerment for having his daughter in the house when he did this.
Yep.
Quote, one would hope that someday you will become tortured by what you have done to Christine, Joe, Christine's daughter, and their families, but nothing I have seen suggests that you will. And that is the murders of Christine Banfield and Joseph Ryan.
Fuck. Good for that judge. That was like scathing.
Yeah, that story is wild.
That is wild. What the fuck?
It has an au pair from Brazil, a FetLife account, BDSM, multiple murders. Like it it's insane.
Wow, sister. I don't have any words. That
Sometimes
poor unsuspecting
I cannot
Joe.
imagine.
Oh,
And I know Joe, that guy.
I know. Getting the old ugly dogs.
I know.
Poor Joe.
He sounded like a pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
People have some real misconceptions about the kink community. You know what I mean? They just
Yeah. Oh, sister.
Yeah.
I don't have a palate cleanser.
God damn it.
I mean,
All right.
all right.
All right. Give it to me anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you about the disappearance of Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon.
Okay.
Okay, you'll know this one.
Okay.
All right, so they were both recent college graduates in 2014.
Mhm.
Kris Kremers was born August 9th, 1992 in Amersfoort, a city in the province of Utrecht in the Netherlands.
Okay.
She's the middle child with two brothers. In 2014, she was 21 years old and had just completed her degree in cultural social education at the University of Utrecht with a specialization in art education.
Oh my God. Is this the Panama girls?
Mhm.
Oh no.
Yeah.
This one's so disturbing.
It's spooky.
It's spooky ooky.
It is so disturbing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
People who knew Kris described her as open, creative, and responsible. Her family said she was mature and thoughtful and someone who genuinely loved exploring new cultures and helping others. She was very expressive and outgoing. She had a passion for photography and she wanted to make a positive impact on the world. She was going to do it through art and education and connection. She also loved to perform, and she had plans on enrolling in a master's program in art history in Amsterdam.
Sweet. That's
Mhm.
so cool.
I know. Lisanne Froon was born September 24th, 1991. She also grew up in Amersfoort. She was the youngest of two girls and had recently graduated with a degree in applied psychology. She planned to work with children, particularly those who had experienced trauma. Friends and family described her as aspiring, optimistic, intelligent, and highly organized. She was extremely athletic. She was 6 feet tall and an incredible volleyball player.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
6 foot.
Mm-hmm.
Get it, girl.
Get it, girl. She was very quiet and introverted.
Isn't that funny? So often it's those really tall girls that are
Quiet and introverted.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I wonder what that is.
I think there's, a lot of times when women are real tall, they're self-conscious,
Yeah, or maybe in the same way that really small people are loud. Like you have to force yourself to be heard, otherwise you're literally overlooked.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Mhm.
I do know. I do know.
Yeah. So the two met while working at a local restaurant together, and everybody said that they balanced each other out perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
They had known each other for a while, but their friendship really deepened significantly right before their trip because just a few weeks before they left for Panama, Lisanne moved in with Kris. They were sharing a dorm room in Amersfoort. That's so fun.
Yeah.
That age and being roomies and all the things.
Yeah.
Both women had saved and planned for 6 months for this trip to Panama.
How long was their trip going to be?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Never mind. She's
I'm
not taking questions
at this
time.
time. Speaking no, we'll hit that up on
We'll
the
get
next.
there. Okay.
We'll get there.
All
Okay.
right. Okay.
Lisanne was someone who liked routine. She liked to know what the plan was. Traveling abroad was already super outside of her comfort zone. but
Right.
she was like wanting to do something that
And she's
was
like, okay, we're doing this, but I need to know the itinerary from the moment we
Uh-huh.
leave for the airport until we get back to the house. Like, I
Yes.
need to know.
I can relate to Lisanne. Like, I'll do it. I'll say yes, but I need to know what all of the emergency exits are. I need to, yeah,
That is not me. I am Kris.
I know.
If Kris is flying by the seat of her pants, that's me. That's
No,
so
I
me.
am not flying by the seat of any pants. I need a firm plan in place.
I know, sister.
Mm-mm. Nope. I mean, Allison literally like accidentally hitchhiked by herself in Scotland because she had no choice, because she wandered way out into the country past the times that the buses were coming, and some old Scottish couple like pulled over and picked her up.
Hey, you know what? That happened to me and Auntie Lola one time.
I cannot.
We actually got a ride back randomly, accidentally, by like a tour bus we didn't pay to be a part of because we were so.
No.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's where I would just
It was
be
in
like, no,
Stan-
lay down
it was
and
in-
die.
It was in Stanley Park in Vancouver, BC.
Oh my gosh,
That
that's
place
so
is huge,
funny.
by the way.
It's so funny. No,
Anyway.
that is my worst nightmare. No. All right. So it's Tuesday, April 1st, 2014. That morning, the women had brunch with two young Dutch men who they had met on their trip.
Uh-huh.
And after brunch, they decided to go for a hike or a walk, depending on who you're asking,
Okay.
along the El Payanista Trail, which was a well-known tourist route that winds through the cloud forest near the Baru volcano on the edge of town.
Okay.
It's not considered a dangerous trail. It's super popular with visitors.
Right.
Got really stunning views when the
Sure.
weather is clear.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole route typically takes between 3 to 5 hours. Start to
Like
finish.
round trip, right?
Round
like
trip.
you go right. That's I mean,
Mhm.
that's reasonable. You're hiking in max 2.5 hours and then 2.5 to come back. Like that's
Mhm.
that's a half a day. That's not even a day trip, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They posted on Facebook that they were going on this hike. And at some point during their hike, during like the daytime portion, they're taking a bunch of photographs, and it's like normal vacation photos. They're on the trail, there's scenery, they're smiling at the camera, just two young gals enjoying a beautiful afternoon on a walk, right?
Yep.
Then this is where things start to get murky, a little murky.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It seems like approximately 6 hours into their hike, so at 4:39 in the afternoon, uh, a call to 112 from Kris's iPhone was attempted, which is the European 911.
But they're not in Europe.
No. 12 minutes later at 4:51, Lisanne's phone tries dialing 911.
911.
Which is the emergency number in Panama.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I was just
Yeah.
actually going to say, side note, if you're going to go to another country, make sure you know what their 3-number like emergency number is.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think in the UK it's 011.
Okay, I'm assuming in the Netherlands it's 112, which is why they attempted that, and
Right.
that got them nowhere. But neither call went through because there was no cell signal where they were.
Interesting. It's interesting that it's not like that deep or that far out, not that high or whatever, and they don't have cell service. I guess it's 2014. I mean, cell service the coverage continues to expand, and because like remember I was telling the story about I think it was the bonus episode about the Alpine divorce, and that one guy had called, and I don't think no one mentioned that it was a sat phone, so I think he called from his cell phone when he was at the top of that mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just listened to a really interesting Stuff You Should Know episode, and it was talking about 911 and cell service, and actually how kind of, I don't know what the word is. You would be frightened to see how antiquated it actually is, the technology that's being used.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be able to call regardless of service, regardless if you even have that connected to a carrier. It could be a dead cell phone. that is not even, and you're supposed to be able to connect to 911. And
Right.
oftentimes it's not happening.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, both phones tried the emergency number again multiple times over the next few hours, and none of the calls ever connected. Kris and Lisanne never returned to their host house that evening. The following day, April 2nd, they missed an appointment that they had scheduled with a local guide, and their host family raised the alarms. They also were like, it was part vacation and part they were going to be teaching.
So some kind of almost exchange program, but as a teacher instead of as a student.
Correct. And so they
Mhm.
had an appointment with the school to kind of get like the rundown, because they were going to be starting like the actual like teaching portion of this trip, and they didn't
Mhm.
show up for that.
Right.
So by April 3rd, their families back in the Netherlands are contacted when they
And this is 2 days. This is
Mhm.
2 days later. Okay.
Yeah. On April 6th, so 5 days after they disappeared, both parents from the Netherlands boarded a plane and flew out to Panama, because they're still
And we're back in one of those nightmares where your kid is halfway around the world in a country that you're not from, that speaks a language you don't speak, with a
Mhm.
whole government and police department system that you don't understand,
I know.
trying to navigate all that while your child is missing.
A
I
nightmare. A fucking
Nightmare.
nightmare.
Top to bottom, layers of nightmare.
I know. Oh my God. So the search effort was significant. They had police out, dog units, detectives, local guides, volunteers. Helicopters flew over where the women had been hiking. They combed the trails. The families offered a $30,000 reward for any information about their daughters. And for 10 days, they searched and they found nothing.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh. Lisanne's phone, her Samsung Galaxy, ran out of battery on April 4th, just after 5 a.m. I guess they know that because that's the last time, like, it was never turned
There
on
was
again.
activity. Yeah.
And Chris's iPhone continued to be powered on intermittently and then turned off again, like presumably to search for a signal, and then turned off to save the battery.
Right.
And this happened multiple times between April 5th and April 11th. But the weird thing is after April 1st, the correct PIN number was never entered correctly on the iPhone to unlock it.
Huh.
So it's like either that wasn't Kris, either somebody else was using it, or Lisanne was trying to guess the PIN, or Kris was so disoriented that she didn't know her PIN.
All
Right?
three of those have implications that are disturbing.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yes. So the iPhone was last turned on at 10:51 a.m. on April 11th and switched off for the final time at 11:56 a.m. And then after that, nothing. So the full scale search was eventually scaled back because there was no evidence, there was no trace of them, nothing. They found nothing. 10 weeks after Kris and Lisanne disappeared, on June 14th, 2014, a local woman was walking along the Serpent River near the village of Alto Ramera in the Bocas del Toro province. So this is many, many miles away from where the girls had been hiking.
Mm-hmm.
And she found a blue backpack sitting on the riverbank. And inside the backpack was Lisanne's digital camera, both phones, 2 pairs of sunglasses, a water bottle, $88 in cash, Lisanne's insurance card, and 2 bras.
This is weird.
It is weird. Also, that really sums up like the difference in personality so much that Lisanne brings like her medical insurance card with her in the
Right.
backpack. Like the
Yeah.
worry wart who needs to plan has her insurance card.
Yes.
That would be me
Mm-hmm.
with like a medical ID bracelet or
Oh my
something. The backpack itself was in generally good conditions. There were some tears and scratches, but nothing major. Nothing inside was damaged. And obviously their $83 was still in there and the camera, so it's not like theft was part
Right.
of what has happened here.
Right.
Investigators went through everything. They pulled 34 different fingerprints on the bag and the contents. DNA was also detected, but none of it led anywhere. But the camera is where things get fucking weird.
Uh-huh.
This is the part that's spooky.
I know.
You don't like it.
I hate it.
Where did you hear about this case?
I've definitely heard multiple podcasts cover it. I'm pretty sure I heard like a 2-parter on True Crime Garage about it.
Okay. So the photos on the camera, so this is like, okay, a digital camera, which is a little bit old school, and it assigns the next number in queue as you're taking pictures. Just starting at 1 when you first get your camera all the way up to whatever, and it timestamps it.
Right.
Okay. So the photographs on the camera started normal with daytime shots from the hike and of the trail and of both of them, like doing selfies of like, yay, vacation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then on April 8th, so 7 days after they disappeared, there's photos taken in the dark.
Right.
Between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. on April 8th, 90 photos were taken using the camera's flash in what appears to be total darkness in the jungle.
During a 3-hour window?
Yeah, 90 photos.
I've heard it speculated they were using the flash to find their way.
Yeah, that's in here too. Yeah.
Okay.
That is speculated. Uh-huh. In the photos, you can see the jungle at night, a river or a ravine nearby, a rock with what appears to be a stick planted in it with a small plastic red bag tied to the top, like a makeshift signal marker.
Mm.
Another photo shows what appears to be a backpack strap and a mirror laid on a rock. And in one photo, you can see the back of Kris's head. So she was alive on April 8th.
Right. Like over a week later?
I just have chills. There's so many people too that say like literally it is one trail up.
Right.
And you turn around and take the same trail down.
Right.
Like I don't want to say it would be impossible to get lost, but you'd have to be really...
You'd have to try real hard.
You'd have to be drunk or have heat. Like you'd have to be confused, like mentally confused somehow to be lost.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't them bushwhacking. They're not out there with machetes making a trail. This is a well-traveled, highly visited, very easy touristy type fucking hike.
Right.
Like walk/hike.
Uh-huh.
The trail is obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's only one.
Right.
Same trail up and down.
Yes.
Yes. Ugh. So the stick with the red bag is consistent with like a survival signal. The flash photography at night could have been an attempt to signal for help or to be used as like a flashlight through the darkness, right? Photo number 509 is missing from the sequence, which is weird.
That is weird.
Uh-huh. So that there's just like a gap in the data that investigators are unable to explain. The camera stopped recording after the night of April 8th. There's no photos, no record of any photos after that.
I wonder if that 90 plus photos for 3 hours, like, and the flash, like, killed the battery.
Maybe. So after the backpack was found in that area, the search teams go to that area. And over the weeks that followed, they found a pelvis and a boot with a foot, a boot with a foot still inside. In total, at least 33 bone fragments were recovered along the riverbanks, scattered across a wide area. DNA testing confirmed that they all belonged to both Kris and Lisanne. only approximately 10% of Lisanne's bones were ever recovered and only about 5% of Kris's bones. What? The cause of death could not be determined because there wasn't enough.
Of anything.
There wasn't enough body. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. What they did find, which was strange, a forensic anthropologist later stated that under magnification, there are no discernible scratches of any kind on the bones, neither of natural nor cultural origin. There are no marks on the bones at all, no animal activity, no tool marks, nothing. So if animals hadn't been like scavenging the remains, why were the bones scattered everywhere and why were so few of them found?
So weird. It's so fucking weird.
It's so fucking weird. There's something paranormal in that jungle.
So that's what you're putting, that's where you're planting your flag?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll circle back to that. So the two women's remains also presented very differently from each other. Lisanne's bones retained some tissue and bits of skin like still on them, like she was in the early stages of decomposition. She still had bone marrow intact. And that suggested that her body had not been exposed to the elements for as long or had somehow been protected. Kris's bones, on the other hand, were described as like so clean that they looked bleached. Like bones that you would use for like medical research. Uh-huh.
This
Yeah,
makes my fucking face melt.
I know. Forensic investigators suggested that cliffs and like the swift river current could account for like the condition of Kris's bones being so clean and sort of like that, but also like how would they have just like gotten there by themselves and not Lisanne's bone? I don't know. It's they're grasping at straws to explain
Yes.
something that is not making sense.
Yeah.
On top of that, Kris's denim shorts were found on top of a rock on the opposite side of a tributary, a few kilometers from where the backpack had been discovered. So it was like, why were her shorts taken off? Had she taken them off herself? Had they just been washed up over there? They don't know.
Okay.
The official investigation shifted several times. The Panama authorities initially classified the case as a homicide, then as an abduction. There was a lot of criticism over how the investigation was handled and allegations that evidence was mishandled, that the backpack was poorly preserved, that local witnesses weren't adequately interviewed. Right?
Sure.
By March of 2015, the case was officially closed. The official conclusion was that Kris and Lisanne had died in a hiking accident.
What?
The Dutch forensic team working with search and rescue investigators pointed to the rugged terrain, the 30 to 40 meter cliffs, and the fast moving rivers and dense jungle and concluded that the most likely scenario was that the women became lost or disoriented after going off the main trail, even though I don't think there is no real going off the main trail.
No, you're like stepping into jungle.
Yeah.
Like they would not have done. Lisanne would not have done that. She would not have followed Kris into the jungle off the trail.
Nope, she would not have.
Nope.
This is seriously a hike that people take their children on.
Right.
Yeah. Forensic pathologist Frank Vandergoot, who led a research team working with Kris's family, stated that violence or foul play was implausible and that the most likely explanation was that the women fell from a cliff after becoming lost.
What?
Yeah. Yep. Kris and Lisanne's remains, or the 5% and 10% that were found, were returned to the Netherlands where they were laid to rest. The questions that are still there, like if they fell from a cliff, Like, when did that happen? Because who was turning on the iPhone between the 5th and the 11th?
And why was all their stuff just perfectly clean, sitting in a backpack, like
Uh-huh.
on the side of the river, like boop, like just sitting there?
Uh-huh. And like the multiple attempts to get into that other phone, but the pin was put in wrong. And all of the times that the phone was turned on over and over and over again during like that 10-day window.
I remember hearing one of the speculations being something about, and this is just like the faintest, dimmest memory, but something about there being some kind of like gangs or like, what's the word I'm looking for? Hostile, like groups that lived out in
Oh,
those areas,
okay.
and that possibly they had encountered some people
Uh-huh.
that I it seems like human hands were involved here. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It is wild. It is wild. And I think those photos are the spookiest part.
The photos are super spooky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the rest of their bodies have never been found. The case is closed. It has become one of the most discussed missing person mysteries of the 21st century. In Boquete, the case changed things. The town took significant steps to improve safety for tourists, new protocols, better trail markers, guides required for certain routes. A small memorial at the trailhead marks the last point where Kris and Lisanne were photographed happy and alive.
Oh,
I know.
those poor young women.
I know.
I am just convinced that they met foul play.
Me too. But I mean, what was happening for those 10 days with the photos and the phones being turned on and the signal with the red bag and the stick and the
Who knows? Maybe they were
whew.
literally being marched through the jungle by somebody.
Oh my God, it's giving down the hill.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Vibes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
It's so spooky.
It's so spooky and it's so unsettling. And the fact that we'll never get answers is just.
Yeah. I hate it.
I absolutely hate it. Thanks so much, sister, for
You're
reminding
welcome.
me of that spooky ooky story.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'd almost forgotten.
Okay, well, sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Give us a review on the Apple product if that's where you're listening.
Yeah, we love a review because you can, on the Apple product, you can typey and like do a whole say something about us.
And somebody had recently asked, like they weren't quite certain how to do that. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, like where you see our pictures, you can click on write a review.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you
Yes,
go.
you can.
You scroll to the bottom until you see our faces and then click write a review.
Yeah, that's what you do.
That's the best way to review us. So if you have access to that, if you could please, that would be great.
But wherever you listen to us, make sure you give us a rating and, be like Mary G. Join the club.
Mary G. is
Patreon.com, yakety yak, don't talk back, crime, wine, and chaos. It's $5 a month. You get a bonus episode every month. You get new episodes a day early. And we're about to have another virtual wine night. I know I keep saying that.
It's happening.
It's true. It is happening. So get over there and join the club. And sister, I love you. I really love you, but that was so fucking chaotic.
So fucking chaotic. Goodbye.
Goodbye.